So one thing that we found on the Rep Institute, and for me teaching workshops worldwide, is everyone has like a certain opinion about a color change film. In front of me right now we've got HEXIS Skin Tech, we got 3M 2080, and then we have Avery Supreme Wrapping Film. And everyone said, oh, this brand is better than the other, or this brand is better than the other. And I've been running the Rep Institute since 2014, and we've made so many product videos. So in a way, I have like a very, very unique perspective that most people in the industry don't have, is because I'm touching so many different types of wrapping film and dialing them in to make products and technical bulletin videos for these manufacturers. So over the years, I've really come to appreciate that I see all wrapping films the same in many ways. Different in terms of stiffness, stretchability, and how they install. But over the years, we've developed a lot of techniques at the Rep Institute, the shimmy, pyramids, wrap matrix, triangles, so on and so forth. And by utilizing these great techniques, combined with, for us, the common denominators, zero stretch takes away a lot of the factory tension in any film. So if one film's kind of stiff, we can use zero stretch and neutralize that stiffness. And then if a certain film is like, let's say, high tack or is prone to sanding or adhesive lines, we can use S to lower the surface energy before the install. These two tools really help neutralize the film, and then those techniques really help dial them in further. So for me, back in the day, before I started the Rep Institute and getting into the film, I had a much higher install time with certain films while lower with others. And now for me, they're pretty much all the same, which is very unique and special because, if I can approach every film and wrap it in the same time, what great freedom that is. So if a customer chooses a film, I don't have to be like, oh my God, I have to wrap with that film. Now I'm like, oh, cool, I can wrap with that film thanks to these two tools and also having those techniques. Especially when it comes to color change film, they're like people. Or like people from different countries. You really have to dial in each type of film and the characteristics and then really adapt to it. Supreme Wrapping Film from Avery is the softest wrapping film at room temperature. A Skin Tech from HEXIS can be a little stiff, and 3M can be a little stiff. So based on that question, in the wintertime, especially if your workspace isn't super climate controlled and really steady with that temperature, you're going to find that Avery in the wintertime is a little better to install just because it performs softer at room temperature. So even if it gets cold, it's still pretty flexible. These films tend to be a little fragile, so you have to take care of that. What do we kind of neutralize those low temperatures? Two of our big tools that we use at the Rep Institute to kind of make the films kind of equal is S, which is a multi-purpose tool. It's a low-tack reducer. You can put it on your squeegee so it slides better, and it's also aftercare, and a heat gun. This welding heat gun is our favorite heat gun by far. But mainly when you get to these films, if it is cool, you can warm the film so it kind of makes it a little bit more pliable, especially if you want to pick it back up off the surface. That is when it tends to break. And also you can lower the surface energy of the vehicle. So with these types of film in the wintertime, if you do have to pick it back up, it comes up a little easier thanks to S. So that's one way you can kind of adapt these films to cold temperatures. But in terms of the one that performs best in cold temperatures, and it doesn't mean it's better, it just performs better when it's colder, is Avery. At the end of the day, the warranties are pretty much the same for all manufacturers, vertical and horizontal. The price point is relatively all the same. They're all cast, these examples. So yeah, I guess they're very similar these days. Back in the day, there used to be a huge difference in terms of initial tack. Some films like HEXIS used to have a really high initial tack, while as like Avery and 3M do the technology, the adhesives, and also patents that they had were very easy to put on for a long time. But starting around 2016, the liners changed for a lot of manufacturers. So now HEXIS is, slidable, much more easy to put on. So yeah, in many regards, they're kind of relatively the same. So they do have those minor slight differences, and that's what we always recommend to the Rep Institute is dial them in. We've made product videos now, almost 400 product videos for 50 manufacturers. So there are unique differences that do come into play in terms of how fragile they are, directional, so on and so forth. But for the most part, you can approach them the same, but you do have to adapt. It depends. I mean, I think everyone has their own preference and personality, so I think that can really vary. These are 3 different types of color change right in front of me. One is HEXIS, their Skin Tech series, 3M 2080, and then Avery Supreme Wrapping Film. In terms of just kind of ease of install, low initial tack, stretching at room temperature, Avery tends to be a favorite of a lot of installers, but a lot of installers like to have that higher initial tack because they trust it more. So a lot of people like the 2080, so it sticks better. And also keep in mind that these films, we have a technique at the Rep Institute called zero stretch, which takes advantage of the built-in factory tension, and that 3M and HEXIS have a little bit more built-in factory tension. So once you understand that process and you can use it, especially if you're a beginner, you might hold the film with the surface, and if you pull in the right direction, super light and heat, the material actually wraps itself. So once you understand understand that technique, it can make all these films friendly and dial it in, as opposed to before you used to think, if I just pull really hard, Avery could be a little bit more friendly, but once you know that zero stretch technique, it actually can make, wrapping with HEXIS and 3M quite easy as well. So if you want to dial that in further and get a better understanding of how to use those techniques to your benefit, definitely get a membership to the Wrap Institute, and it comes through a special deal with ND Graphics, so that collab is really, really special, because ND Graphics obviously supplies the film and the tools, and then Wrap Institute supplies the knowledge, and that combination is super beautiful, so be sure to take advantage of it.